Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy last 12 minutes of Thursday. Okay, so this thing's not working right. Here we go. Something's wrong with Stream. I should open up the show, but something's wrong with either YouTube or StreamYard. But StreamYard's added a couple different things. I'm still kind of weirded out, and it's messing with the controls. So when you click on something, it doesn't respond like you think it should. But hey, happy Thursday. On a note, before I forget, and I will forget, with the new format that's coming along, with the normally scheduled shows are going to be Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. The Thursday show will remain the same as far as it will be the only non-topical show of the week. So I wanted to keep one of the shows to where we had a fluid conversation, to where we could react to whatever's going on throughout the day, or people can bring in things that are not specifically on a topic. So Thursdays it'll be open topic Thursdays, and that's where you guys can just basically we'll allow you guys to dictate the conversation to a point. We don't want to talk about the same shit over and over again, but as long as there's information to be squeezed out of whatever topic you guys bring, that's what Thursdays will be. Saturdays will be the standard overnight live show, our standard anchor show. That's where we're going to cover everything else during the week, all the big items. Like this Saturday, I can already tell you what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to be going in depth with the new Star Trek show. I'll talk about it a little bit tonight because I did get a chance to see it. And then we are going to talk about a couple of different things. I know I'm going to talk about DCKO number 3. That's leading into something big. What else do I have? We're going to preview Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm not certain we're going to do a watch party for that. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. We can either Sunday night do our Sunday night weekend wrap up, or we can watch Game of Thrones, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I'm 50-50 on that. But you guys know I love Game of Thrones. This isn't the Game of Thrones I'm used to, but it's still Game of Thrones, and I might be pleasantly surprised. And then Sunday is just going to be the weekend wrap-up show, just a residual of whatever happens on Saturdays. But those will be the 4 nights. So your Tuesday show will be the pretty much the news of that spirit. Whatever happens on Monday, Tuesdays, whatever happens, like that. Or I will pick a topic like we used to do when we brought up our list, things like that. The Thursday show will be open topic, just like tonight is. We'll be talking about whatever is going on and answering any silly questions. This is where my patience for them will be a lot more better than it would on the topical nights. Saturday shows will be what it is. Might change it around a little bit, but for the most part, it will be the show that is the coverall show, and then Sunday's a wrap-up show. So Look who's in better lighting today, and it's Brad. What you like there's like a sun inside of your fucking room today.
It's the light in the ceiling fan. Same light I always use.
You must not have been turning it on lately because it's way bright. I noticed it before I brought you in. I'm like, wow, what the hell is that?
That's my desk lamp right there.
So. Okay, because before that's all you were using, right? And then you
no, that was what I was using. I was using that light.
Because I didn't even know there was a bed back there. There's like posters and shit. There's books. I see D&D books and stuff back there. There's a bunch of martial arts shit, no doubt. I don't even need to see that. I don't need to zoom in on that shit.
Blu-rays are like right off camera here.
All your documents and stuff like that. I see a degree there. See, mine is boring. I got my championship belt. I got the Zack Snyder football. I got the Predator mask, and then I got a bunch of stuff that like I said. Well, you were in background for last night. All the stuff that's going to be moving over here. See, I'm getting professional, folks. We're going to de-ghetto. We're going to the de-ghettification of the show is starting here of the week. That we're going to have like professional, and I'm not going to sound like a professional. I'll sound like a fucking Cookie Monster on my mic because I'm going to have these things all around me. And right now, believe it or not, I mean, you probably believe it, but I'm using the camera that comes with the Dell. I have other cameras. I just, it just doesn't make any sense here, but over there, it's going to make different sense. You're actually going to be able to, think of like if you guys know Phil Unfiltered, how sometimes you see him, he's sitting diagonal and you can see everything around him.
Computer, like right, kind of
with them. That's what you're going to kind of see me, but except you'll see me from this normal angle. You'll see me from a distant angle because I have stuff that I want to show you. And I also, like I said, the same thing that I do at the store. I'm going to be bringing some stuff here because sometimes I don't want to stay at the Sci-Fi Center, believe it or not, 1 o'clock in the morning like we do when you do shows. It's fun, but shit. It's hard to drag my ass back to across town. But sometimes I want to, I want to do a late night show here, but I want to show merchandise stuff. So I'm actually building something to the side here to where it's like think like a weatherman. Like when a weatherman gets up and stands in front of something. So I have this. You can kind of see it. You can kind of see the glimpse of it. In my hand. This way. All right, this way right here. This is coming over here. And it's my height. It's actually 8 feet tall. So that will drape from top to bottom. So if I want to say, I want to talk DCKO or something or Spider-Man or anything like that, it's going to be like I'm doing the weather, but I'm talking geek shit. So that's what going over there is going to allow me to do. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then I'll have all my cop pour buckets. Yeah. I got plenty of those. My new worker Gage almost sold my Galactus the other day. And had to put a stop to that.
Yeah. By the way, did you have a chance to read the thing I DM'd you earlier about the merger?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh God, this is getting.
And then he's going. Did you send me the one that he's going to the one of them? He's going to the. Yeah, he's going to go to the.
Going to the European heads of state or something. And he's trying to persuade them to block the Netflix. This is getting nuts.
I'm going to assume David Ellerton is smarter than me. I'm a bonehead.
I don't know. I think that might be doubtful at this point.
I'm your average garden variety bonehead. You always want to think through the lens. If you're dealing with something, you think through the lens of your opponent. Now, do you think for a hot fucking second that David Zaslav and those highly educated people did not think of that long before, and that there are not conversations that were had before you got desperate? Before you got mad, they probably were over talking to the EU. I'm like, come on, man.
Let's take intelligence education out of this. Is do you think this is going to? That's what I was saying the other night with some of the other recent kind of amid this temper tantrum that because that's really what it is at this point.
And the lawsuit. He also lost again in the lawsuit because he wanted to expedite the lawsuit because he knows he's running out of time.
And the judge threw it out.
The judge said, "No, get out of the court."
He was never attended law school could have told you that, but even taking all that out of it, I said this the other night we were talking about that. Do you think this is going? You pull this? Do you think that this is going to get either Warner Brothers or the shareholders to say, "Oh, gee, it's we totally miscalculated on this. I guess we need to take another look at Paramount."
The people, the EU has seen this for what it is long before he gets over there. and nobody is going to go against the shareholders. Here's the thing: when you say no somewhere, someone can say no to you somewhere else down the line, and there's no reason for the EU to get involved with this. The monopoly concerns and all the concerns Paramount poses not as big, but those same threats to anybody. And I just and now to me this ended with if they escalate this to an all cash transaction, there's no way. If I'm a stockholder, I'm not going to turn that down. And the EU, what's them getting involved in it? Yeah, you have to have the clearance to have your stuff aired in the European community, but at the same time, you're going to them assuming that they're going to see things that they're not going to see the same things that the stockholders. And you think that David Zaslav hasn't been on a jet aeroplane to Europe? Or is not in a chat room with some people, the same people that you're running to right now? Do you really think he would go this far if he thought that there was a base that he hadn't covered yet?
I'm telling you, man, it's like this has got to be the first time in David Ellison's life he's ever been told, at least when it comes to anything business related, this has got to be the first time he's ever been told no.
I'm ready for this to be over, and I'm ready for this merger to be over. Like I said, in the ideal world, if it was up to me, there would be no merger. But I know that that's not what the shareholders want, and I know that's what it was. So I know that's inevitable. But if I can get a consolation prize out of this, I just want David Ellison to go away right now. Come back when you got a cool idea for Star Trek, and we can talk. But I think I will be able to tolerate David Ellison after this is over. Because he has some decent ideas, but this merger has made him look really fucking dumb.
It's made him look really petulant. That's what it's really made him look.
Yeah, it's like you had all this money, you didn't want to match the deal. And then you said, "Oh, Netflix is in casting its stocks and all that's not stable." Then they said, "Okay, we'll just give you the." Did you? Well, first of all, you are actually going to challenge and doubt the fact that Netflix they pull in billions per month.
They can't just fart out this money if they need it.
This
all cash bid.
And even if they didn't. Yeah, even if they didn't, say for instance, they didn't have it, their creditors are like, you know what, we'll give it to you because we know what you can do, and we know we got a good feeling about what you. There was no ever. They just got to the point. Netflix has got to the point. We're getting annoyed now. Let's end this quick. That's why they did that, because now there's nobody that can doubt the veracity of the sale. There's nobody. It's cash.
Do you think that this, obviously it's also got to go through the regulatory process with the government, antitrust laws, and all that? Do you think that any of this, because again, if they do put up, and I think it's the writing's on the wall now, they're going to put up the all cash bid they're talking about, and that's just game set match. Do you think that hastens the process of it being finalized at all?
Well, no, because it hastens the getting out of Paramount is what I think it did, because they're not going to be able to match that offer. And by the way, if you're willing, and this is my opinion, if you're willing to offer up a cash transaction, that means you have the money to raise the bid if you want to. That's basically declaring we have the money. We would rather do it this way, but just to fuck you, we have the money. So I don't know. Now, regulatory wise, if the regulators do anything that appears to be shady, they open themselves up to liability. Whatever the regulators do, whether it's Trumpified or anybody else, they have to follow the precedent. They have to follow the law. They have to, or else they open themselves up to lawsuits that could drag this on forever, and nobody gets it. But like I said, every red flag that David Ellison has raised, Zaslav's people are there. They got the same type of lawyers. They got the same capacity to grease the palms and be as sleazy and dirty as Paramount thinks they may be. Trust me, those people on the other side, they didn't just wake up yesterday. So I'm thinking that they wouldn't have gone this far. And as far as, like I said, Trump getting, I don't know if, he flips. David Zaslav is going to know how to talk to that guy. David Zaslav and his shareholders and the people that they've gotten, their advocates are going to know how to deal with Donald Trump and exactly what to say to him to get him to do whatever the fuck you want him to do. They know that. They're rehearsing that shit while we're on this show right now. So I don't think that's going to be. Like I said, listen, and if I'm a Paramount stockholder, I got a question. How far are we going to go with this? We're not. This is not. How much money? How much is this worth to us at this point? And how much time and resources are you going to put into it that you could be putting into? I don't know, Paramount.
Yeah.
The company you own, the company you just bought. How much money are you going to? How much are you going to pursue? Even if you were to get it, you're getting it at an inflated price. After you just purchased, I mean, what? I mean, at some point, if I'm a Paramount shop, I'm like, hey, all that money that you're about to do that with, you could be turning around. Hey, let's put on some more Star Trek. Let's put on some more. Like, hey, let's make it so that a Taylor Sheridan doesn't walk out on us again. The next guy we get. I mean, so yeah, just to me, you just purchased Skydance. You just purchased Paramount. Let's make Paramount better before we go off on this fucking Ghostbusters chase. That's my fire Paramount chase. All right, so I only saw the first episode of Star Trek. Jesus, I don't like that because I think it's disrespectful. Not only listen, even if you think it's accurate, I think that we're completely dismissing the generation that may love this. You know what? It's not 90210. I watched 90210 for a little bit, and I watched the show. That's not 90210. It's kids. But yeah, I think when you put a label on something like this, it dismisses that generation that's going to be the foundation of Star Trek. They can't just make shit for us anymore. I mean, we can do the Star Wars thing, but we just keep on putting a fucking new face on everything Luke Skywalker. You know, heaven forbid Mark Hamill dies anytime soon, but that ain't going to stop it. Oh, he's dead? We'll just, he signed over his face, right? So we're going to produce Luke Skywalker shit for the next bit. No, there's going to be a new generation is going to bring things. And you know what? Some of them I'm not going to like. Some of them I'm not going to like, just like in wrestling, but not everything is going to be aimed for me. But everything that is aimed to keep the franchise alive. I enjoyed that show last night, and I was good. I was completely, well, you know what? I can't watch this anymore. You know, I'm the kind of guy, if you lose me in the next first 15 minutes you have me. Listen, I'm proud of myself. I'll pat myself on the back. I'm not loving one battle after the next, another. I got another 5 minutes in today, and it was painful. I don't know if I'm going to finish that movie. I know when I first watch something, first 15 minutes, it's like, oh, you know, I'm obligated. I feel obligated because it's been talked about, but it's going to probably take me a year to get through that fucking movie. But Star Trek, the first 15 minutes, I enjoyed it. Yeah, it's aimed at a demographic that is not me. I will freely admit that, and that's fine. But at the same time, it felt like Star Trek. There's sometimes when you have a franchise show and you got to like look and peer and kind of strain your eyes to see if a little bit. No, from the moment that show started, I felt like I was home with Star Trek. I felt as much familiarity personally with Starfleet Academy as I did with every first episode of any Star Trek I've ever seen, and that includes the first episode of Encounter at Farpoint. Now, Encounter at Farpoint is looked back like it was the rapture, like it was the second coming. I mean, it was like, no, it wasn't. I remember watching that as it aired. People fucking hated that. Nobody understood what Q was. Nobody understood anything like that. But as time, they kept at it, and Star Trek: The Next Generation got better and better and better. And then by the time that Best of Both Worlds hit, it was a completely different show, and now it's legendary. Deep Space Nine, listen, I ended up loving Deep Space Nine, but holy shit, that first 3 seasons, it was like being in detention. I wanted to love it because there were some really kick-ass characters in there, but until they revealed that the founders and the Jim Hadar was the entire reason why we were doing Deep Space Nine, why Odo, they planted Odo there to be that whole thing. It took a while for that show. The only Star Trek show I loved from episode 1 to its final episode was Star Trek Voyager. Even Strange New Worlds has had some loose episodes that kind of went, but there's not too many bad episodes of Star Trek Voyager. But I felt the same way that I felt when I watched those shows. I felt like I didn't have to like, you know, is this Star Trek from now? Now, like I said, it's aiming towards a demographic who, like it or not, are the future of Star Trek, both acting wise and demographic wise and customer wise. We are literally listen, us Generation Xers, we held it down long enough for it to survive. We fought old Trek fan because old Trek fan wanted to drown the baby in the bathwater, but we kept it alive, and now we have all kinds of Trek. I enjoyed the show. There was a couple aspects of it that I thought were really cool. They got a holographic species now. It's not just a doctor. It is a species that is a holographic. I thought that was cool. I thought some of the technology was cool. There was a sense of wonder about it, like a sense of something new. Even if it wasn't perfect, it was something new. And I think that's what Star Trek, for the most part, when it strays off, it's when it's not new and awe-inspiring anymore. And I thought this show last night was awe-inspiring. I like Holly Hunter. I've always liked Holly Hunter. I thought Holly Hunter is a top-tier actress, Academy Award winner. Holly Hunter, very diverse actress. I liked her character. There are some characters in it that I know I'm going to get sick of. That's Star Trek. So, but
since we're talking about sci-fi on the Sci-Fi Center, and
you're not going to piss me off tonight, are you? I'm having a good. I'm having a good first.
It's not going to be the Furious, I promise.
26 minutes. If you bring up the Orville, I'm going to end the show. I'll end the show right now if you try.
No,
I hear one more person. The Orville is more Star Trek than No, if you love the Orville, congratulations. You know what? This remote, as much as I want this to be a fucking platinum bar that I can cash in, I can wish it, I can say it. This remote is better than, it's not platinum. It's a remote. Stop that shit. Go ahead. Finish.
But yeah, since we're talking about sci-fi topics on Sci-Fi Center tonight, and I swear this is not about the Furious. Although, when are we going to get that trailer and that release date?
I don't care.
Okay, but no, I posted this actually just literally right as we came on. I'm kind of wondering where you stand on this.
Are you starting shit again on the internet?
Some might interpret it that way.
Geez. What have you done?
Yes,
what is that?
I'll take this part first.
I can't see it. What is it?
A clips for RoboCop 2.
Oh,
somebody recall, and I clicked back and I said, "Is that a hot take to say that's actually my favorite of the franchise? Is RoboCop 2?"
Yeah, because it's an movie.
The hell it is.
Awful
RoboCop
movie.
2 is, first of all, it predicted the future. Detroit did go bankrupt.
Well, that was something we were predicting in 1982 when we lost a lot of our auto force in Japan for a time, in Korea. Once Datsuns were made, once Datsuns hit the market in the late 60s, they've been predicting the end of Detroit since then. But RoboCop 2 is an awful movie.
No, it's awesome.
I'm not saying I didn't have fun, but it's fucking awful, dude. It's basically regurgitated. It's regurgitated one. And let's be honest.
Regurgitates nothing about one.
See, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. You didn't grow up in the 80s. You didn't hold on, no. Oh, yeah, okay. Something being awful didn't mean it wasn't fun. It just doesn't. It's just not something I can go back and say, "Woo, wow, that gives me that tingly feeling again," because it doesn't. RoboCop 2 was fun. It was complete horseshit. It was bullshit, but it was fun, dude. That was an era of just blowing shit up for no reason, no good story.
First off, the era we still had stop motion.
But in the late 80s, early 90s, I was ready to be not doing stop motion anymore. Unless you were Beetlejuice, I wanted to see the fucking the new shit that we had going on.
RoboCop is like I think about one of the few things from that era, like that and Beetlejuice. It's like and also probably like the first Terminator, like from that era. That
dude, that's a different part of the 80s. You might as well be talking about a different century.
Those all have stop motion. They're all like really closely associated with stop motion. So they're the ones that are kind of like. That's kind of part of the package with them, but no, I love RoboCop 2.
Like I said, it's like Cobra. It's like Cobra to me. It's like Cobra. Cobra is an awful movie, but it was fun. It's awful, dude. It's not even. It's not. They weren't even trying to make a good movie in RoboCop 2. They made a movie that they knew people who like RoboCop would go see. It wasn't good.
Social satire is even more spot on in RoboCop 2 than there's in the first one, and that's saying a lot.
There's a lot of shit in it.
And not only that, we got.
All right, what's up, Jose?
We also got like a Babylon 80s, like one of their greatest singles of all time. Kid Goes Wild.
Okay, dude, now you're stretching.
I cannot
believe somebody from your generation has embraced that Shrek of a movie. And I'm not knocking it. It was when Saturday night, we didn't have anything to do in the 80s, early 90s. We actually, I know this is, hold on. I know this is going to be a shocking thing and make me seem like I'm 12,000 years old. But when we wanted to do something like fun, we went out to places. We went to the movies. And then 6 months to a year later, when we wanted to see that movie again, we went to the video rental store, the Blockbusters. And I know, a lot of you are going to be like, wow, get off my lawn, William. But and this, you know why? You know what made it fun? Shit movies like RoboCop 2. They weren't bad, but you just needed material. We had so much time. We didn't have we just watched movies.
We have to do a watch party of that. We have to do watch.
I do. RoboCop, to be honest with you, is a classic, but it's really it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah, He's not coming back to life. I don't care what you hook that motherfucker up to. Peter Wells is not coming back to life. Dude. Okay.
He did kind of get blown away, but
he's bleeding to death. He's losing limbs, and they didn't get to him in time to save his ass. But
and I love when they have him in like the operating table, and the one guy says, "Okay, let's just shock a flat line and quit."
I'm like, dude, with as many holes as he had in him, he would have caught fire. But sure. All right, William. Dave Filoni is now officially in charge of Lucasfilm, Old Club of Weekend. I can't wait. Listen, I hope that's what he gives me. But it's still, like I said, Rational. It doesn't absolve my complaints that I've had about the Star Wars universe for the last 10 years. This is where we should have been 10 years ago. Now, if we're getting there, I mean, I hope I live forever and I get to see this because this is what I really want to see. I don't know if you guys remember when we first started doing these shows. I covered the comic book series, The Knights of the Old Republic, Freedom Nad Uprising, Dark Lords of the Sith, Exar Kun, Ulic Dragon. There is so much history in that 4,000 year before the Battle of Yavin that is so beautifully done. That I have those comics in my Star Wars section. If anybody wants to get into Star Wars, I wish they wouldn't. And Star Wars for a time never denied, they never officially made them canon, but they never denied them as being canon. So Exar Kun, you could actually go onto the Star Wars website and type in Exar Kun, and even though he had never been in the show or movie, he was there. Dark Empire with when you had that was the first time you get to see the young Emperor because he had cloned himself. That was where the Jedi Holocron, all that stuff. So I hope Dave Filoni gives us that because to be honest with you, but I'm not going to be one of these guys that's like, oh fuck Star Wars, fuck because they're giving me this, this other stuff. I just, I'm just going to disengage. And when they give me something that's like, ooh, okay, like Starfighter, I'm going to take a look at Starfighter. That looks like it's going to be some fun. But I'm not going to be like, oh, wow, I got to stop my world because, of Grogu and Mandalorian or another, anything with Skywalker in it. Like I said, if you come to my table and hey, William, you got a new project. Okay, my first question is going to be, are there any, what time period and are there any Skywalkers? And I need the right answers to both of those questions before I engage. So that's just me. But I hope everything that you're hoping for and I'm hoping for, Rational, comes to being because, like I said, I want to get back into Star Wars. Right now, it's just kind of.
Yeah. I bet Aaron's a big fan of RoboCop too, just like me. Where are you, Night Aaron? I've not seen the comments. Listen, this reaction I got. It's like, I mean,
I'm not big into God of War, but I mean, I'm happy for you guys.
I didn't say RoboCop 3 was the best of the series. That is like legitimately insane. If you hear anybody tell you
RoboCop 3 is it's unwatchable. Once again, I put RoboCop 3. When was RoboCop 3 released? That 92, 94?
That was 93.
Yeah, that was still in the era where you just went to the shit because it was nothing else to do.
But it's also PG. I mean, it took. I mean, see, that's the one of the bad decisions they made with this is they did the whole like let's expand our audience by going to PG-13, then they end up cutting off most of their audience.
I mean, all right, Clint. Now you're starting to sound like an old guy. Everything that has teens and 20, are you just gonna slap 90210 to it? Game of Thrones is listen. If it's Game of Thrones, that's like saying Spartacus 90210. There are certain things that just can't be like that. There's gonna be sex, cutting and gutting and dismemberment and people getting burnt up. I don't think we're having GOT Game of Thrones 90210. By the way, Game of Thrones Night of Seven Kingdoms premieres this Sunday. I am not certain that you guys want to come along with me in that journey of Game of Thrones. Some of you are in the Game of Thrones, some of you are not. I can review it. I'm going to review it, but I haven't decided whether we're going to do watch alongs of that or we're going to just go back to our, because this is different than Welcome to Derry. I think it's a little bit different. There's Game of Thrones has a lot of lore.
Well, show of hands. It's, if anybody's not into that, it's like, who wants to do a RoboCop 2 watch party?
Not on a Sunday. No, I don't want to. I mean, that movie had its time for me.
I'm amazed that we haven't even done like a watch party of the first one yet.
I just don't have a desire to see that movie again after all. It was fun.
I mean, listen, I agree. It's like, but that's why it's called listen, everybody, everything William just said about it's like, yeah, William or Murphy, yeah, he got totally blown away, and like you're shocking that dead body back to life. But there's most sci-fi, it's light on the science, heavy on the fiction. So
and when it is released, sometimes those movies are a prisoner of their time that they're released in. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with these movies. It's just like it's like
I mean, and I said this also when we did the Starship Troopers watch party. Like same thing with RoboCop. I mean, it's like look at the futures they're both predicting, and then the world we're in now. It's like it's
it's not hard to predict a dystopia though. You can listen. Wishing for the worst and predicting the worst is not as hard. The only person who accurately did it. There's only one person. Everybody else said everything's going to go to shit, and all your leaders are evil. That's easy. A 4-year-old can do that. There's only been one person throughout history who I think got it and got the details right, and that's George Orwell. George Orwell didn't just say we're going to fuck ourselves. He told us how and what we were going to hold on to while we were being fucked.
Yeah, but he didn't tell us Detroit was going to go bankrupt.
He didn't matter. Anybody who was in grade school at the time could have told you that, because we actually, our first grade teacher actually was showing us, because she was from Detroit, Miss Madera. I'll never forget that woman. But as far as actually being able to, tell you what was going on, George Orwell predicted things that actually in detail happened in several different things. He predicted the rise of anti-Semitism, even worse than World War II. But that's what Goldstein was about. The party, he predicted, because this was in 1948 when the Iron Curtain hadn't completely enveloped, the Europe. We were still years away from the Berlin Wall. We were still, he envisioned it, him and Churchill. And Churchill was a little bit later. So when you look at, and in the surveillance society, the people being the biggest weapon of totalitarianism, he predicted that in detail, that you have to have vision to do it. Some of these guys who write science fiction and stuff say, oh, wow, in the future, and especially when we were in the Cold War, there's going to be, somebody's going to launch a nuclear war and we're all going to just be eating each other, and it was going to be a guy and his dog, and it's going to be traveling through the body. That shit's easy. But what Orwell did was like, it's actually scary. To read 1984 throughout you can apply 1984 to more eras than you cannot. And it's kind of creepy how George Orwell, 78, almost 78 years ago, was thinking with that type of stark vision. That's a movie we need to watch. We need to watch the version that came out in 1984 that has Richard Burton's last film, and the late great John Hurt as playing Winston. And there's just something. If I ever get a tattoo, it's going to be of the quotes that are in 1984. He's like, Winston, if you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a face forever. That is the most. And when you hear reading it as a kid was one thing. Hearing Richard Burton just say it so dry and just made you feel just awful. Everything in that movie and that book makes you feel awful. And then there's when he promises Winston before he knows who he is, we'll meet in a place where there is no darkness, and it's a torture room. It's room 101. So yeah, there's some good shit out there.
Yeah,
all right,
there's also, you could have a different quote. You could get the same message across, which is, if you want a vision of the future, imagine a robot blasting away at an OCP executive forever.
I mean, that'd already been done a robot blasting away humans had already been done with the Terminator.
And see, that's the thing I love about both of the first RoboCop 1 and 2, because it's what's so part and parcel of the franchise is the social. Is that it's I think it was Ed Neumeyer who said that really what it was, they were trying to write. They wrote a black comedy. They wrote it. They constructed it as like it's a Trojan horse, or presents itself as like the sci-fi action movie, and but it's that's disguising really like a really dark comedy, and that really becomes clear, like in the Ed 209 scene, the first one when he when he kills the OCP executive. I mean, he just fires like 800 rounds in this guy when he pulls up the Glock, which that in itself is like, I mean, within the last couple of years, obviously, topics like police brutality have really become very much in the zeitgeist. That's another thing right there that really kind of zeroes in on, because I mean, like, really, like this one little pea shooter is going to like take out this giant ass robot, and he just fires away on him. I mean, just unloads all of his rounds into this one dude. He's just laying there in a pool of blood. Is anybody going to call a paramedic? I don't think he's going to pull through.
I'm glad you were entertained. After the bullshit Stranger Things, I didn't think that was complete bullshit. There was some stuff I could have done without, but I thought it was fine. Info from the documentary that came out. I don't want Netflix getting shit. Well, I'm going to break something to you. If it wasn't for Netflix, you wouldn't have gotten shit to begin with. Like, that includes seasons 1 through 4. So, even if it gets blocked, Warner Brothers is not going to be a film. They'll find someone else to sell to, because he's already pissed those stockholders off.
Yeah.
And now if I'm the stockholders, I sue Paramount, because you're doing what's called an interference. You're interfering. You're undermining the will of the stockholders, and you are interfering. And if you fuck this up with some bullshit, I'm putting you in front of a judge. That's just me.
Yeah. So what? I mean, he's Ellison. He's gonna wake up. He's still gonna be rich dude.
Yeah, with somebody else's money that he didn't work for.
But so it's like, why is okay? This is the fish that got away. Like, happens all of us.
I hope it turns out that Netflix is not allowed to purchase WBs and Paramount.
Sell for beans.
That's not good, because you're going to deal. Now you're talking about your devalued studio, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. And it's not just the kind of merger people are going to lose their job. You're going to lose your job because that stock is going to plunge. That stock is going to plunge, and whoever does buy it for beans is going to not be able to maintain it for beans, and then they're going to end up cutting people. So you don't want that. The only thing you would want, if it's going to get sold like that, you'd want somebody who's not one of these two. I could see a third party, you wouldn't wanting a third party, but if it's devalued in a way like what Paramount's trying to do, fuck that. I'd see the shit out of them. Let's be friends, Paramount. As I said on Twitter last week, ironically, Paramount, since they own the race to this movie, Glenn Close and Boardwalk Davis. Fatal Attraction.
That's what Clint says. Oh, the memes I've seen circulating today about Ellison. There's one I saw. It's the part in the cable guy where Jim Carrey like crashes through the door. I just want to hang out. No big deal. And the crash was like, this is David Ellison it's just really becoming comical. It's becoming like, this is like, honestly, it's like I'm wondering like at what point like Jon Stewart's like gonna like do a segment on this, even though he's only on the other show on Mondays now. Like I really want to kind of see his 2 cents on this, or John Oliver.
Yeah, he retired. I'm surprised he came back for that, but he had enough to talk about.
I mean, I watched during his like heyday. I mean, I didn't miss an episode. Like the Daily Show and Colbert Report. Those are my jam. Every night I follow those. Those are, and that was back when I was like watching like actual cable, like more than much more so than I do now. I mean, that's sign of the times, how much like streaming and YouTube and stuff like that's really kind of thing. But I mean, I was that. I mean, as cliche as it is to sound, I mean, it's like Jon Stewart, like he was like my legit like most trusted newsman. I mean, people.
I never took him as a newsman. I always figured him as a comedian that cared about politics, but I didn't get the news from him because he is biased. I mean, even if I sided with him on most things, I would never consider him, me personally, in the news source simply because he's not the news. I'd
say Colbert probably. It's like he's a little bit.
He's a character. That was a character. That was.
Well, but even like what he's doing now, or what he's. Until the show ends now. What's happened with that? I do,
Another reason why I don't fucking like the Ellison.
Yeah, that's true.
Shit, dude.
I do think Colbert, like his, I mean, they both definitely lean left. I mean, it's like that's I don't think that's controversial to say. It's like they both lean left. I mean, but I do think Colbert, it comes through a little bit more with him. And that's also like when he was like, ironically playing like a right wing kind of newscaster. I do think his kind of is a little bit more prominent, but I mean, but they're not like they're not like they're not like the left leaning equivalent.
No, they're not, but there's still a bias. It's just listen. Kimmel is out of all of them. Kimmel goes after him. Kimmel goes after him like knife and fork. However, here's the thing.
Look how that went down with him.
Yeah, and he's still in the air. The thing about with Kimmel, it's not. When some of the stuff that they're bringing up is not necessarily left and right, there's comparisons to what we are now to what we've become, and you don't need to be any wing to figure that out. But Netflix billions per month are not all profit. A lot of it is. They have a high operating cost, yeah, but it's not more than what they make. They operate at a $14 billion deficit. That's the running total of their credit, $14 billion deficit. They pull in way more than that a month. So the majority of it is profit, and the rest of the value of the company is stockholders who are going to continue to invest and grow their investment. If you're pulling in how many, I forgot how many billions we said. We did the math the other night, or a couple of weeks ago. If you're pulling in as much as Netflix is pulling in a month, your credit is golden. You can operate at a deficit because you will be able, if those debts were called in, you could pay them off no problem. But those people want to keep their money and they want to keep that interest going, so they're good for it. So, but no, they pull in a massive amount of profit a month. There, I don't know where that's coming from. Anybody see good movies? I'm going to see Night Patrol. Listen, the next movie I'm going to see is I don't know when.
Well, like on Saturday, I went and saw, and I gave my review on here about Primate. I'm probably going to go ahead and get like this weekend see 28, the new 28 Years Later. Like what else? Let me look at what else is coming up in January. By the way, it's like we might be getting some snow in my neck of the woods, which is like Savannah, Georgia. We don't get snow that often, although we got it like about this time last year. It's kind of crazy how it's like it seems to actually kind of becoming somewhat more expected in these last 2 years.
I have clear skies for the next 14 days, according to the weather report.
Does it ever snow in Vegas?
It does every now and then. Yeah, it's not a regular occurrence, but it does enough. John Campea, who used to shit on the Warner Brothers, is not going after Paramount now, and his team is going up. Yeah, because he's the guy. He basically called it what it was. I mean, he's just acting unbecoming of a billionaire, especially somebody who inherited money.
Exactly. There's no way to like read how Ellison is handling this and not call it a temper tantrum because you didn't get your way. I mean, they it's clear to me that Ellison he thought this was such a slam dunk. Like he thought this is like we can't lose this.
Well, he should have did some research.
And what I mean, and to be fair, I mean, like even like when we were talking about like before Netflix really kind of locked in. I mean, like I remember like I think it was like within a week of when Warner Brothers said we're going to go with Netflix as our new buyer. William was saying on air I told him I was sharing like you know news and rumors that like Netflix is becoming the new front runner. He was saying at that time to me, we are in DMs like no, he said no, Paramount's going to get this, and then it's shows you how much you change in a week.
Yeah, well, and the change of philosophy goes. I think Netflix started to take it seriously because of, and a lot of people are thinking about it of just Netflix, and when they think of this company being merged, they think of what Netflix is going to do through the lens of what Netflix has been. They are not thinking like the stockholders in the case that the chairman and Sarandos and all the people, the case that they made to their shareholders at the last minute appeal to their shareholders, and not just us being Netflix and swallowing up this thing and farming out and cannibalizing it. We have a chance to create something that can funnel high-end content into what we do. It increases our value and increases it. And when he's saying it increases the value for the customer, he's actually right, because a lot of people who buy Netflix can't afford HBO Max and vice versa. So if you're a Netflix subscriber, you're getting an enhanced value because you're getting all these things that you would have never gotten in a rate funnel to you. And so they made their case. And when you can make that case to a customer, you can increase your subscribers. You can increase the value of the company. They made a case towards the end to themselves, because Netflix, somebody got to Ted Sarandos and company and said, "Hey, this could be big. This could put you in a growth vector that no one will be able to match." And that's what Ellison is so worried about, because if Netflix does get them, Paramount will never catch up to them. It will not be a monopoly, as he's trying to scare people and thing. There's a difference between being a monopoly and your ass being a distant number two. Because once you have HBO Max, Warner Brothers, and Netflix under the same umbrella, it is not a monopoly by virtue. I mean, just by the fact that Paramount still exists, Universal, all these places still exist. You don't have a monopoly, but you are going to see a distant number two, a distant number three, and they don't want that. They know that once that happens, it's no going back. But there's nothing to stop it, though. So, not really. Why do characters from Star Trek seem so dumb and too hip, too professional? They're smiling like it's Adventure Time, running down the halls like it's spring break. Aren't they military? No, they are not military. Starfleet is an exploration, an organization of diplomacy that is in the form of the military, that is in the structure of the military, but not with the goals of the military. The goal of the military is to protect any given sovereignty and to project power into abroad. That is not necessarily what Starfleet is. Starfleet's first goal is exploration, making first contact. Now, they have weapons. Sure. They are in the military structure. That's fine. But you have people that work in NASA and everything else that are commanders and captains that are not necessarily there for war. There is a military discipline that's there. Obviously, you're going to refer to your ranks and all that. But in the future, I highly doubt that it's going to be like the mud that we're in right now as far as how our military works. So they are in a utopian society. They should be happy. They should be. You join Starfleet not to go fight a war, even though you might have to. You join Starfleet because you want to explore it. Now, and if you notice how things change when DS9 goes from exploration of the wormhole and all these things to outright fighting a war, it becomes something different. And you do have points in Starfleet where they had to fight wars. They fought the Romulan Earth War before the founding of Star Trek Starfleet that we should see. But for the most part, in the era that we're dealing with, especially in the era that they're in, war is not a thing like it is here. Yeah, military structure, fine, but that's not their priority. My priority as a soldier in the United States Army was the defense of the country and to project force, to the enemy. That's not what Starfleet is. So yeah, that's why they would probably be a little bit happier than us. Now, if Starfleet goes into war, like obviously you saw the tone change when the Dominion War began. You saw the difference between when Star Trek was exploring in the Next Generation to when they had to fight the Borg. So they are capable of military presence, but that is not the goal. Let's see. Yep, I quit JCW tonight, and I heard TNA was bad tonight too. I'm halfway through. I actually got it up on my screen. I'm halfway through the TNA thing. It looks kind of cool. I'm scared I might lose. What'd you do? I didn't even know you had a job, to be honest with you.
Why are you scared about that, man?
Yeah, what did you do? Oh, jeez. Detentions like the Batman. Listen, like I said, I'm not here to change your mind about movies, guys. I enjoyed the Batman. William, what's your feelings on the new Game of Thrones dropping this week? I don't have any. I just like I went into to this new Star Trek show. It's a premise that's not the top of mind for me when I think of Game of Thrones. I've had Game of Thrones proper, and I've had House of the Dragon. Now I have this show. but it's Game of Thrones. So just by virtue of that, I'm going to give it a shot. And if I don't like it, listen, guys, my time is valuable. I will fall away from that show in a heartbeat if I don't think there's anything to it. So the reviews are pretty good, but the red flag I see is the length of the episodes are about a half hour. That's unfortunate. It's not a mainline Game of Thrones show. It's not dealing with, the mainline families and the mainline lore. So 30 minutes, that's probably how they justified making it, because you save a lot of money that way. But streaming reality, unfortunately, that doesn't surprise me that we have 30-minute shows. I wish all streaming shows were at least 1 hour. You're talking about yoga. Let's see. Yeah, sorry to hear you're losing your job. That sucks.
In there, man.
Even if you lost your job, don't go back to that.
No, go back to that. It's like that. That's if anything, if anything, that's a comfort movie if you're dealing with unemployment.
It's about you're taking the right path.
It's RoboCop 2 is the best of the franchise. Best of the franchise.
That's okay, sure. Let's see.
I will say it's like the only thing the only major complaint I have with RoboCop 2 is I would have liked to see a little bit more of Ed 209 in it, other than just the part where he gets his foot down the manhole and gets stuck. I mean, look back on the first one. They do really, even though he just massacres that one dude in the boardroom meeting. I mean, they do really make a point of the fact that Ed 209, it's like he's not a very efficient law enforcement, robotic officers. I mean, like just trying to get down the stairs, really work.
This RoboCop discussion is totally fucking
I can't
debated.
believe it's like on the sci-fi side, we have not watched RoboCop yet.
Yeah, it's just, and I just explained to you why does the Klingon look like? You're talking about the commander because she has Klingon in her lineage, but the dominant part of her family is Jem'Hadar. If we're talking about the same character. I just got done a death metal show watching Human Condition. Oh, where's Larry? Larry loves that death metal shit.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Million. Next time you're on here, we're gonna like double team William on RoboCop
2. I'll leave.
No, we got to do that watch party. And of course, say in the comments section if Donovan ain't chiming in and tell me I'm wrong.
You see now, why did you have to bring that?
Because I'm annoyed as hell. This little twerp won't stop stalking my Twitter page.
You're a public figure. That happens, dude. You got to get used to it. You gonna respond to everybody? You should, don't answer that. Dave Filoni is just as talented
for a reason, Donovan. Take the hint already.
Dave Filoni is as talented as Kevin Feige, meaning they will never be on the same level as Jerry Bruckheimer. Different eras, though. Jerry Bruckheimer makes his money one way. These guys do it a different way. That's all. Well, here's the thing, though. They are. It's not. If it's not for you, I can understand that. But we're not. I don't believe in shutting the door off into a new generation and being selfish enough to where we just want something to stay the way we envision it. Yeah. I mean that sucks, man. I don't want to do that.
Oh, Aaron, speak of the devil. Aaron, I measured myself. I saw you post this earlier. I measured myself at 5'6". I'm about 6 feet even.
Oh, she finally got around it. Because I was always curious how you're tiny. Tiny. Because like I said, we never, aside from the pictures, she sent the little Christmas pictures. I'd never seen. It's just her head.
There's people like that's about how I think you've said that's about how big Film Junkie is, isn't it?
Yeah, like he's a little guy, dude. Like I said, when I first met him, I'm like, "Hey, little guy, come here, little guy."
And actually, Aaron, interesting is like from what I've heard, Zack Snyder ain't much.
He's not very tall either. No, he's not. When I went to go, I told you I went to go find him. I went to go, because we went to that event, and I'm looking for this big stoked out dude because I know he's buff. He lifts his weights up there.
Powerlift all the time.
I'm like 6'1", 6'2". I see him standing in a corner, and nobody's around him, and I just walk up to him. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" I started talking to him. I'm like, I looked around because I thought I was gonna have to fight myself, but there was that event had a lot of stars there. I still to this day don't know how the fuck I got into that event, but thank you.
I called this favor, so let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, whatever. He didn't even show. But yeah, I thought that was cool. But yeah, he's not a very big guy at all, and he was hard to fight. He was hard to fight in a crowd. Him and Sophia Patella was there. She's super tiny.
Yeah,
She's super tiny.
he's what about? I've read he's about like 5'8" or something like that.
About that, if that. Yeah, if that.
And she's probably about 5'3".
Yeah, and she's even smaller than him. Like I said, there's a picture on my page if you go back years ago of me meeting Film Junkie, and he looks like he could run up my leg.
Well, and the picture of you with Zach, yeah, it's very deceptive because you guys are
it's aimed up.
It looks like you're both really tall.
Yeah,
but like William
we are not.
6'2".
Yeah, I'm 6'2", and I'm clearly, I mean, cool guy though. I'm down to board DOG train with you, William Toot. All right, that's a vote.
Independence Day 9-2.
Well, that was shit. That's not why.
That's kind of what we got for the second movie, isn't it?
That was just a bad movie. Can you pre-watch those so we can talk during an episode? That's a tough one because it's just I don't have a lot of time to do that. I mean,
well, and also like when we're watching them live, I mean, you kind of get our live reaction. I mean, it's like it Welcome to Derry. I mean, I think that actually kind of added a lot to it. Where like especially with how so a lot of the horrifying stuff in that show, you got to see us react in real time.
Yeah, I mean, there are some times when I can't talk when I'm watching it with you guys because I'm trying to get the information to respond to. But as far as like pre-watching, sometimes I can. Sometimes I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3.2 billion a month seems like a lot of profit off of 28 million.
Well, that's a gargantuan profit.
Yeah, Netflix is doing just. I wish I could be in their position.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel like talking to you guys tonight. We're almost done. We've been on the air for an hour. I don't know if I want to do an open panel. I think I'm going to limit the open panels to the Saturday show.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the other shows are pretty late.
Fort says, Brad, your live reaction is 20 minutes later in the 15 seconds. So, whoa, that was wow. Well, yeah. And do you want to take that away? Come on.
Oh wow, 5'2". Yeah, you're a little guy. You're shorter than Wolverine.
There are people in the dojo I work with, like other teachers. It's like I'm probably one of the bigger guys in there. There are other people in there. They're like 5'6", 5'7". But don't let that fool you.
Those are dangerous. Those are dangerous people though, because once those people get inside your reach, they can do a lot of damage, and they got low center of gravity too.
Oh, don't let that fool you. Yeah, because it's like the others I've sparred with is we like I have sparred with people half my size who can mop the floor with me.
Like Erin, I mean, if I engage Erin, she's tiny and all, but if she's got like a skill, now granted, it's hard to throw me around, and eventually I will get the upper hand. But I don't like fucking with short people because, like I said, once they get under and inside, they can cause a lot of damage, which is why I try to use my length if I have to do that thing. But I'll go blackout berserk though.
Yeah, like one of the Mr. Gabe, if you're watching, he has when the head instructor of my school. He first time spar with him. He because I'm a lot bigger than he is. But his strategy. He started from like sparring like 2 feet right as soon as it goes right up there. He works backwards from the fact that people are going to be bigger than him, and he takes their reach away from them with
that's what they do. I messed around with some short people who knew they just in training and just having fun when I was overseas. I don't fuck with the little guys, man.
I'm really good with my kicks, so it's like I'm good with managing my distance, so it's like I can, I got that kind of on my side, but it's like, again, it's like I have. When people tell you like if in fighting, it's like if you're tiny, you're screwed. It's like, again, I have trained with people who are a lot smaller than me who can really give me a run for my money. It sounds like William, you can find out too.
Yeah, I am unpredictable, but
again, still the deficit, the difference between the operating costs, $328 billion monthly profit. Again, monthly. So 3.2 billion times 12. That's what? That's like 36 6 billion annually. Something. Let me do the calculator.
Yeah, they're making more profit than 3 point. I don't know where you're getting that because we pulled this up a couple of weeks when this all was all going down. When people think that if Netflix wanted to bid, they could bid as much as they have a lot of. It's just how much do they think it's worth? That's where one side. But
It says we're fun-sized people.
yeah, well, when you only see people online, you just get a height in your head that this person is so many. So high. And then like I said, we never seen it. She did the little fusion dance one time, but it was really dark. She sent her little Christmas pictures and she's in lighting and she's got a little jammy, little elf ears on. And I'm like, he's really tiny.
Well, like I think Film Junkie also, because he looks fairly,
he's stocky.
Yeah, but he's not tall. So if it's just him on camera, it's like it's really easy to come away thinking like he's kind of like Zack Snyder. It's in shape. It's like he's got muscle, but again, not like he's not lording over you.
All right. Gross profit for 2023 was 14 billion. But what is 2025? Even still though, that's hold on. Profit 2025. Let's put 2025. That can't be right. Okay, holy fuck.
What?
39 billion, dude.
Is that
annual revenue? Okay, but see, you can't. They're not going to break down the so their annual. Let's see, Netflix revenue 2025. Netflix annual revenue for 2024 was 39 billion, 15.6 increase. Their 2023 was 33 billion. Let's see what it tells you. Their profit based assets, liability, margins. Margin, operating income, and net income. Gross profit. Here we go. This is the one he's probably talking about. You're off by there. You got 2022's. Their 2020 annual gross profit was 17 almost 18 billion, which is a 28 point increase. But here's the thing, and this is kind of sneaky. I hate to say this, but companies do this all the time. That number, that 17 billion, I just read you, trust me, that is not what those people are walking away with. Operating cost. You know what the other word for operating cost is, guys? Other term? Paying yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right. My operating costs at the center are this, and this. But I also who gets paid? Yeah. Guess what's part of the operating cost?
I mean, who's paying William but William?
The shareholders are getting that part of them getting their cut is part of the operating cost. So there's a lot of shady, but 17 billion profit. That means you're just generating a lot of money for a lot of people. That end number is not what the people who are putting into the pot are walking away with. They're walking away with far more. That number is after everybody at that table has been fed, and they've been fed well. Yeah. You don't keep getting people to give you money when you're not making that. They pull in, but for a 37, and they can cut that too. They can be like, you know what, we can cut our budget. Guess what? Game of Thrones ain't around anymore. There's some right off the top right there. I mean, but yeah, they've cooked those numbers, and they all do it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. 20
recent fiscal years, major components being massive spending on content, technology, marketing. Well, there you go. It's like employee salaries. That's
that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what they show after everybody. Like I said, I would love to have 200 grand. I pull in $1 million raw, but I have 100,000 in credit or in a profit, but I paid off everything, including me and my bonus. And every one of those guys gets. So yeah, it's.
How much fun is it to set your own Christmas bonus every year?
This is crazy. No, they've been talking about Kathleen Kennedy stepping down since the Earth was cooling. And today it's just 5 to 2.
I can't even imagine like every Star Wars Reddit right now must just be like, it's like just pop shit. They've been had it in for her since like I mean I don't think it really started until like not with like Force Awakens or with it really started, I would say, with Last Jedi. That's where they really had it out for.
And you know what? I don't blame her for that. That movie, I blame a lot of people for that movie, but at the same time, it's just like I think sometimes when you have these things go down, it becomes a scapegoat situation. So, all right. Anything else happened today? Anybody want to talk about? I think we've covered all the nonsense and the crazy shit.
Oh, Aaron's where is this here? Yes, I thought or I posted
Spit off
earlier
of what?
From Cobra Kai. We both want the Zara Malik spinoff.
Don't care.
Oh no, that's gonna be. They gotta have that in the works. I guarantee.
I have no plans on seeing the Bone Temple.
That's like just coming out this weekend.
That just came out this week. This came out today.
Yeah,
I think
I'll probably see that either tomorrow or Saturday.
Yeah, if he sees it, we can review it. But I'm not that big into all that.
I did enjoy the last 28 years later, where a lot of it was like showing just how the kind of the new society that's sort of that's what I always really like about zombie movies is okay, you show us the plague happening, but then jump forward 10 years and that's really what The Walking Dead did. That's
yeah, and that show.
Yeah.
I
like
just
the idea I'm a big post-apocalyptic fan, so
I'm in one regard, and that's Blade Runner. I mean, even then, it's not that type of apocalypse. It's a post-event, but it's not the apocalypse. But yeah, I'm not big into a post-apocalyptic stuff because it just becomes one note after a while for me. So I kind of say so. I will not be seeing. What are my thoughts about Deep Space Nine? It took a long time to get to where it was going, and once it did, I enjoyed it. Once we got about midway through season 3 or 4, I think it was, when you first have the episode, the Jim Hadar, and you start meeting the extensions of the Dominion, that's when the show got really good for me. But overall, I like it. I mean, I thought it had some Avery Brooks as Captain Sisko. I don't like the way it ended, though. That's one of those. That's one of my reminders how really hard it is to end a show that's lasted that long, because I did not like the ending of Deep Space Nine, but overall I like the show. William, should fans write letters to Ted Sarandos asking him not to kill movie theaters? No, he doesn't. I don't think they're going to have to. A, I don't think it'll beat him. But B, you will not have to. You will not have to write letters to Ted Sarandos, because there's a more powerful voice than fans. It's called greed. Once they're doing this to increase their profile and to increase their profitability, and if you do that, it makes no sense for them to kill theaters. If you follow the money, and I was on when I was on Vox a couple of weeks ago, because Ray, this was Ray's fear, and I'm like, I understand he has every reason and every based on what the company that Netflix is now and was before. But we're talking about a new world here. And if you just follow the money, it makes no sense for them to do what a lot of people fear that they will do just because they're Netflix. They're looking at it through the spectrum of what Netflix has been, not through what they will become. There is too much money in the distribution. There's too much money in the being able to route high-end content, retain your subscribers, and add on more. The financial leverage to be able to sell some of this content and put it in other places. And you need it, like I said, I call it a cycle of prestige, because once that movie is in a theater, it's more prestigious to the person who couldn't go see it in the theater. Once you put these movies on a streaming service for that guy who couldn't make it, you've added value to that, and you've added money, because the biggest thing for these streamers to me is people say it's growth, and growth is great. Retention. Being able to stabilize your revenue, at the very least, stabilize. You want to grow, but very least and that's why Netflix is what they are, because they can go to their investors and their stockholders, and they can look at that monthly income, and they know that is stable. Now you're talking about stabilizing it even more and adding a cycle of prestige to everything, even HBO Max. There are going to be things on HBO Max that weren't necessarily can be on HBO Max because they weren't Warner's, but because you have that two-way street going. But you need the theaters to be able to say, remember that thing that was in theaters a couple weeks ago? Now it's on our streaming service. That means something to a subscriber, especially a broke ass subscriber who's just barely getting by. They got Netflix, they don't have shit. They may not even have cable. There are some people I know that don't have cable, but they have Netflix. And every time you add value to your franchise, you give people one less reason to step away. So, and the theaters are part of that. So I don't think you'll have to write Ted Sarandos to do that. I think Ted Sarandos and all the financial advisors see that the theater are part of that cycle of prestige that's going to up the value of everything that they're about to purchase. So I don't think that'll be necessary. William, have you seen the Witcher TV show on Netflix? I have not seen the last season. No. I thought the first season was fun. The second one lost me a little bit, and then the other ones don't even have Cavill in them. So, I am a little bit through Fallout. Clint, who's on our page, Clint loves Fallout. So, let's see. Yeah, I like Q everywhere he's been. He's been in Voyager too. Q is Q. John Delancey is good no matter what. I mean, he's going to be good. And I like the fact that each time he showed up and hassled the Starfleet captain, it was something different to offer. Like when he hassled Janeway, he basically snapped his fingers and they were back on Earth. And he was doing that because there was a Q, a member of the Continuum, that wanted to die, and so they held the trial. But Q used Janeway as the judge, and he was bribing her to make her decision. And then he said, "I can get you home like this," and she said no. But then when it was Picard, it was much more entangled, because I do believe, in my opinion, that the Q are the furthest advanced humans that humans can be, and that the reason why he's always entangling himself, the Continuum, with showing mankind its fate, all these things, is to ensure that species advance to the point where he is, because there's no reason why he exposes them to the Borg and Q, he imposes them before that was the first time that the Borg saw them, or they saw the Borg. And at that point, the Borg were going to come from the Delta Quadrant. What he really did is he gave the Federation a head start on preparing for the Borg. Otherwise, if the Borg just show up in the Alpha Quadrant with no preparation, there's a good chance that they could wipe out everything, and they at least had a fighting chance. And all good things, he's saying that there's something wrong with the evolution, something that happened to the evolution. Mankind's going to be wiped out. Why is he doing that? Why is his interest there? So I think Q is ultimately the ultimate evolution of mankind, millions of years down the line, whatever. But he has to. He's always going to interfere in the affairs of man. He says the trial never ends. That's what I mean. But yeah, I Q's one of my favorite characters. And then at the end of Star Trek Picard season 1, when he's in there with Jack or what's his face, Lieutenant or Ensign Crusher, I really want to see where that goes. And that's, by the way, a lot of hate that is going towards not necessarily anybody in chat. A lot of hate that is going towards Starfleet Academy is we wanted Legacy, which is Legacy. I hate that name, but that's what they call a show that would include Captain 7 of 9, Rafi, all that, which I want more than anything. That doesn't mean you got to shit on this show. Listen, David Ellison, if you're watching the show, you're probably already coming after my ass anyway, because But anyway, if you are watching this show, dude, you want to spend some time and money on something worthwhile, get that show off the ground. People will love you. People want that show. There's nothing wrong with Starfleet Academy, but tell you what, listen, I can walk and chew gum at the same time. You can give me both of these shows. Hell, fuck. For years, there were 2 Star Trek shows on the air at the same time. I could take 2 streaming shows. Come on, man. All right, let's see. I prefer Voyager over almost every Star Trek show, because I thought the character development, the character growth, the situation that they were in, and this is the one thing. The best thing about Star Trek when it's going strong is the development from characters when you first see them to the point and throughout seasons. Even Tuvok, who's a Vulcan, an unfeeling Vulcan for the most part, he evolves. The relationship between Harry Kim and Tom Paris was one of my favorite things about the show. The Doctor, the evolution of the Doctor from being just an EMH, a hologram that you call on, to a guy who develops feelings, to a guy who develops guilt. The I forgot what the name. I don't know if it's Tinker Doctor something, but it's one of my favorite episodes of all of Star Trek. It is where at the beginning of the show, Ensign Kim and some unknown ensign are mortally wounded, and he has to do triage and decide which one he could save. He ends up saving Harry, but he has started to develop guilt. His program now, because he's been around a while, and what ends up happening is the guilt is starting to overwhelm him. So and the show doesn't let you know that it's Janeway that's doing it, but because he's talking to Seven of Nine, because they're kind of friends, and he keeps missing chunks of his life. Like he'll wake up and he's in a different place and he doesn't know why. It was because Janeway saw the grief and the guilt that was happening to him, and thought not only was it going to harm the people, the Doctor that she needs, she thought it was going to destroy them. The best thing about this episode, and probably the best things in all 7 years of DS9, when Seven of Nine goes to her and says, how is he supposed to evolve if you don't let him deal with the things that we all deal with? And I love that. And then at the end of that episode, she no longer because his subroutines keep running into it, right? So he's never going to be around it, and she decides once he approaches this guilt again to let him deal with it, and that's why. And as over the 7 years, that character evolves. Seven of Nine comes in season 4. She evolves. Chakotay evolves. Janeway evolves. Neelix, who's annoying at first, evolves, and I think that's that show is the best example. And I saw a lot of it last night or this morning when I'm watching the show. There's plenty of room for growth in the show. Is it going to be for me? To me, it was like Lower Decks without the bad jokes. And you guys know how I feel about Lower Decks, but this felt more regal to me. This felt more Star Trek. This felt more like wow. I was wowed. It's hard to wow me after all these years on the Earth. So. I'm gonna start this. Okay, cool. I had what the hell was that? Oh, that was you.
Yeah.
Pick better words. What do you mean? I'm going to edit a Montague. You're just weird, Fourth. I've come to the conclusion that you're just weird. What better words would you want? Now I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. So what the fuck? Yeah, it's a prototype title. I don't know what they would call it if they got it. I don't even care. If they called it Legacy and I got the show, I'll take that, All right, I think that is David Ellison William is a big Star Trek fan. Do you think his fanboys will for creativity? I hope it's better than his pursuit of Netflix. I will slightly you know what? If he gives me good Star Trek, I will start to forgive him for all this crazy shit. Oh, that'll be hilarious. Okay. But yeah, listen, that's what I'm gonna get back to doing Paramount shit, dude. What the fuck is this is just making you look dumb, to be honest with you, making you dumb and petty.
You look immature, is what it is.
Yeah, go buy if you want to buy the linear network, CNN, all that. That's what you want anyway. You'll get that when it's over with, and that's another reason why to me the Netflix deal is better, is because it allows them to make even more money in a sale of TNT, TBS, CNN, CNN headlines. Because believe it or not, that kind of stuff isn't dead. People are wishing it dead and thinking it's dead because we have online. No, people still watch that shit, and it still has value, and it's value that Paramount's not going to pay for it. In conjunction with the whole organization. So I just want to. I'm tired of this merger. To be honest with you, I'm tired of the merger talk. I'm tired. Listen, we've been talking about the merger talk since everybody was calling me stupid for never gonna
There was going
merge.
to be another merger.
There's not gonna be another merger. They're not gonna get rid of these people. Blah blah blah. You're an idiot. You just want them to fail because you like Zack Snyder. No, I mean, once you started seeing the signs, this motherfucker was going to flip this company as soon as he could, and as soon as he could, he did. He entered negotiations immediately to sell the company, which is now, you know, hey,
if nothing else, it's giving us some good comedy out of this. Was like how Ellison has handled rejection.
yeah, it'll be a Saturday Night Live skit if anybody cares. I remember people disliking DS9. That was a big thing because a lot of Star Trek for people, all Star Trek has been a ship. Every Star Trek has had a ship now, and it was a station, and they weren't. It wasn't about exploration because DS9 was not about exploration. There was some exploring going on. That show was about war. They just didn't let you know immediately because they just kind of wanted to ease you in because they had an advantage of having Star Trek: The Next Generation on at the same time. And that was during the area. You had 3 shows that took place during the same time. You had DS9 overlapped with Next Generation. DS9 started in 92. 2 years later, Star Trek: Next Generation had its final episode. 1 year after that, you had Star Trek Voyager, which literally launched its show from taking off from DS9. But you had the advantage. I think if DS9 would have been on its own, it might not have been as successful, but you had the Next Generation to give it that kick. And by the time you needed, that momentum, you had to Defiant. Once you had the Defiant in there, I think the show kind of took off. But then again, once the Defiant came out, because the Defiant was designed to take on the Borg, and it was retrofitted to take on the Jem'Hadar and the Dominion. So once you got knee deep into Dominion, the show was off and running. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much. All right, guys, that's where I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm going to go eat. Today is Friday and Saturday, my favorite days of the week. And that's it. I think we got all the miscellaneous shit off our chest. So the next time you will see me is on Saturday, roughly 8 p.m. It might fluctuate. If I got customers in the store, we're going to delay the show. I mean, if I'm dealing with them before the start of the show, now it's one thing to deal with customers during the show, but if I'm dealing with them as the showtime rolls around, you're going to see a delay, and I'll let you know. You'll see me in the chat saying, hey, I got people in the store. We got to deal with them first. Once I clear them out, then we'll get going, or once I get them to a place to where I think, I can start the show, then I will. But roughly 8-ish is what we're going for that show. Like I said, this week we're gonna talk about Game of Thrones a little bit, headed into the newest show. It's a Thrones show, one way or another. I'm going to give an in-depth review of both episodes 1 and 2 of Star Trek Academy. We're going to talk about DCKO, and we will revisit 1986 again. And by the way, these will not all be 1986. Some of them will be 1996. Because there's some cool stuff that happened in 96. 2006, I can't really remember. It's a blur. 16, I don't care about. But we got some other decades in there that are, but 1986 is going to be for a while now. I'll have another band to focus on that released something big in 1986. And there are plenty of movies to talk about. And 1986 is this week. It's going to be a Ridley Scott movie. And we are going to be diving back into the 40th anniversary. I think it's Legend. Legend's 40th anniversary, correct? If I'm wrong, that was on my list. I was thinking you were going to say The Fly. The Fly is coming. The Fly is coming. The nastiest fucking movie ever made, David. It is true. 1986 for the.
You don't get more body horror than The Fly,
and that's what David Cronenberg does. I mean, watch Scanner. I mean, he just does nasty shit, but he's also a great actor too. He was in Star Trek Discovery.
Cronenberg?
He played Agent Daniels. He played the Doctor. He's got a creepy demeanor about him, but he's wise. He has a creepy wise demeanor about him. So all right. That's it, guys. So tomorrow, if you have a longing for me on the internet, hopefully I'll get invited to the vodka stream. And we've been having some Dave, I've been watching Dave for 8-9 years now. The last 3 or 4 of these things, including the ones I'm not always on, the conversations has gone places where I'm really proud to be a part of some of these conversations. And if you look at the tone and tenor of the conversations, we're not all agreeing with each other. when we ain't shredding each other either. That's what the kind of show he hosts with that kind of platform. That's the way it needs to be. And I'm not just kissing up to him because he sends me an invite. I thought of this before I was allowed or invited on that show. And it's one of the things that appealed to me about his show is that, a total agreement is not a prerequisite for having a professional conversation. So if I do get the opportunity to be on, I'll put a link on our social media so you can come watch me there. Some of you already do. And that's about it. You got any final words? Any meaningful? I never give you the floor. Do you have any meaningful final words before we go off into the night or the morning?
RoboCop 2 rocks.
You've become so predictable. Goodbye, everyone.